Good evening. Sorry, my chair just kind of rolled back. This is Dawn Reinhardt, and I am not doing any makeup or any of that tonight. I've already done it, and I did it earlier, and it's holding up beautifully. But anyway, I want to come in on Sundays. And I would like to read from a book that absolutely touched me in more ways than I could tell you other than to say learning compassion and wanting to learn more connections, because it does save lives. It does. I'm going to tag a few friends here. Give me just a minute. All right, there we go. All right, so the book that I would like to read from tonight is called I See You. So this is what it looks like. Okay, I've got it in a paperback, and it is by an author named Julie Lee. So let's get started. Chapter 1. Do you see me? Your life will not go unnoticed because I will notice it. Your life will not go unwitnessed because I shall be your witness. That was from Shall We Dance? So when you're too panicked and depressed to eat, sleep, cleaning the bathroom is the first thing to go. Lying face down on the filthy tile floor of my bathroom, I willed my mouth to say the same prayer I had been praying for months. Please, God, please, come and heal me. I'll do anything. Save me, God, please. I've done everything I can. Please. The anxiety and depression I experienced was crippling. I needed relief. I wanted to die, not because I didn't want to live. My 3 people, my little family, they were the only reason I needed to stay alive. Yet I didn't see how I could survive another day of this hell before some animal instinct within me would take over and end the suffering. The thought terrified me. I heard stories of people who were institutionalized for poor mental health. My great relief came from imagining that I could be one of them. I had begged Rob to take me somewhere where they would lock me up in a room and give me the official PTSD diagnosis my therapist suspected. A place where I could paint watercolor, flowers, and meet in a support group with strangers just like me. A place that would fix me. I dreamt of coming home a new woman who was invincible against the mental ailment I had become so familiar with. Just down the hall from my bathroom, my little boy and even little girl, only 18 months apart, sat playing in our living room. Lydia was squished in the bumbo. Her delicious thighs were getting too fat to fit in the seat. Sam loved to make her laugh. He imitated my husband and I making silly 2-year-old faces and shaking toys in front of her face. Those kids, my babies, were everything to us. It had taken Rob and me years to have children. When they went to bed at night, we often sat and looked at the pictures we had taken of them on our phones the day our kids were our obsession. As a child, I watched my parents battle mental illness. The thought of affecting my kids that way, I was affected as a child, was more than my heart could take. What about Rob? Was I so different from the spunky college girl he had married? I saw myself become the mentally unstable spouse that I swore I'd never marry. A hard worker and an optimist at heart, I had always known I would have a happy life. While I had watched my own father suffer from years of clinical depression, I had never seen the darkness in myself. I was bubbly, ultra-motivated, an expert avoider of all things depressing. As a teenager, I had promised myself that no matter what happened in life, I would force myself to not be depressed. Well, here I was, 27, on the bathroom floor again, having done everything I could think of to heal myself. I'd been fighting anxiety and depression on and off for the past 6 years, and I refused to believe it was tougher than me. Countless times I had Googled how to heal from depression and scavenged the lists, checking off each task one by one. I ate healthy, exercised, served, meditated, worshiped, read all the books, smelled all the oils. Heck, I'd even learned a new instrument to cure me. But like so many other afternoons, I collapsed in front of the toilet, with the fan blowing so my kids couldn't hear my sobs. It was so important to me that they remain completely oblivious to their mother, enduring yet another day in her isolated psychological hell. In the Bible, there were multiple accounts of a story of a woman who was physically ill, involving blood. She tries all sorts of things to find healing, but nothing works. For 12 years, she suffers until she sees Jesus walking down the road. Pushing through the crowd, she reaches her hand out and touches the corner of his robe. In that moment, she was healed. Her faith in Jesus is enough to make her whole again. I knew the Bible. I believed in Jesus. I stretched out my arms on the ground as far as I could, almost touching the tub, and I begged Jesus himself to appear before me so that I could touch his robe. I told God that I had the faith to be healed, and I think I did. But he didn't come, and I wasn't healed. No person, no burst of lightning, no higher power came to release me from my nightmare of a reality. Not yet. I have a question for you, reader. Do you see me? A fellow human collapsed on the floor. Do you connect with my cry for relief? Can you picture me in your mind? Have you ever felt that desperate? Is there anything that would hold you back from getting down on the floor with me? Would you feel too embarrassed to get close to me where I can see your face? Would you back away slowly out of insecurity? Would you care what my political views, my sexual orientation, or my religion was? Most of us want to help, but often don't. We back away telling ourselves someone else will help, someone who is more equal to the task. We have good intentions, but unfortunately our good intentions do not help the person on the floor. Our own insecurities and differences can hold us back from seeing each other. If we don't understand those obstacles get in the way, we will never change. I know this because I used to feel the same helplessness. I once saw someone crying in a public hallway, someone who was clearly in emotional turmoil. What did I do? I found a different route to my destination, far away from the crying that was making me feel uncomfortable. I did nothing. It wasn't until I was the one sobbing in public that I realized how wrong I had been. I realized how stupid and irrelevant my need to be comfortable really was. Visiting the whole will teach you that. I've been interviewed many times about my experiences with anxiety and depression. I remember for a specific interview, Tony Overbay, a licensed marriage and family therapist, was interviewing me for his podcast, The Virtual Couch. There was a moment in our interview when I became emotional and he expressed empathy for his clients. Tony described what it is like to sit across from someone who is suicidal. "We want you to live. That is our ultimate goal," he said. "It just breaks my heart that sometimes people have to get to that point before they are enough." I was reminded why I care so much about this mission of I See You. When people need us, it should be all hands on deck. At the end of the day, nothing else matters more than keeping people here. In an article that was published this year in Harvard Business Review stating depression is the leading cause of disability worldwide, 1 in 5 Americans is affected with mental health issues, with depression being the most common problem. A recent report by Blue Cross Blue Shield found that depression diagnoses are rising at a faster rate for millennials and teens than in any other generation. Unique to this period of history, there are severe epidemics no one can see. The stakes are high and the results are frightening. Anxiety, depression, and suicide are among them. Isolation is permeating every family, company, school, and religion. It is everyone's problem. I know what it feels like to not want to be here. Those feelings are real, and I can say with certainty that the solution to isolation is human compassion and connection. There are a lot of people who experience loneliness and isolation without ever becoming clinically depressed or anxious. Instead, they feel upset, dissatisfied, unmotivated. When we stop connecting for whatever reason, we see painful consequences. There are countless distractions keeping us from engaging with each other. Connecting with people in today's climate has to be an intentional choice. Many of us are a little lost right now. We are somewhat disconnected from reality. We are not quite sure what's real and what to believe. There are some of the natural consequences of having access to an abundance of information and virtual options. At night, I find myself wanting to scroll through Facebook rather than having a conversation with my husband. Exhaustion is an enemy to effort. Sometimes we want to be numb, to unfeel the sensitivity of life. It's easy to choose a virtual reality over a regular one, and we are suffering because of those choices. To lead meaningful, rich lives, you and I need to connect and see each other with compassion. It is our duty as human beings to take care of each other. In one of my favorite books, Daring Greatly, shame researcher Brené Brown says, "Connection is why we are here. It is what gives us purpose and meaning to our lives." Choosing connection over isolation means our quality of life is about to get a whole lot better. My life dramatically shifted when I started choosing connection over isolation. I began to recognize that I had an irreplaceable part to play in the human family at large. I started celebrating my differences instead of hating them. Most important, I was able to see I am not alone. There are a lot of things that can get in the way of connecting with people, especially people who are different from us. Snap judgments, belief systems, and economic status, just to name a few. But when we think about the mother on the bathroom floor begging God to take away the pain, we have become one of the 100% obsolete. I love the pairing of compassion and connection. They complement each other and work hand in hand. When we form a connection with another human being, the byproduct is usually feeling a greater amount of compassion for them. We will judge them less harshly because we see them as a complex human being rather than problems. It's easy to dislike someone from afar when we can't see the circumstances they are coming from. It's a whole lot harder when we are close up and see what's really going on with them. So my challenge for us is this. Let's not look away. Let's not close our eyes. If we look, we will find what needs to be done. I wrote this book to help us find ways to do just that. But no book, podcast, or article can tell us exactly what to do. Not the way our own soul and consciousness can. We have to find moments to be still and to ponder what it is we are meant to be, who we are meant to save. For me, I felt like I should write this book, so I'm doing it. It's important that we are patient with ourselves throughout this process of seeing. Agonizing over the past and worrying about the future will suck away the time we could spend living today. We have to clear out the distraction, then let our heart and soul lead our life with intention. If we listen and look for ways we can live with stronger connections and greater compassion for others, we will become kinder, happier people. Our life is going to change, and we will never regret shifting our gaze to who is right in front of us. I have seen this compassion work in my own life and the lives of the angels surrounding me. The bottom line: isolation is permeating the world, but we can make intentional changes to see each other with compassion and connection. Our only ability to thrive is dependent on our ability to connect with others, which will undoubtedly lead to a greater amount of compassion for them. Do you remember that young mother on the dirty bathroom floor? Don't forget about her. So that was chapter 1. What I would like to do is every Sunday find time to come on and read another chapter. This book was incredibly encouraging to me and has taught me how to see others. And it's also made me yearn for to be seen. So thank you so much for joining me. This will be a Sunday afternoon or evening thing that I will try to do every Sunday. As always, please stay happy, healthy, and safe. And if you think this would benefit anybody, please shine this out, which stands for SHARE. Thank you for everybody that joined me on this live. Stay happy, healthy, and safe, and I will see you guys again tomorrow.